Hello and welcome to the first ever Burnout Book Club. Oh, it's exciting. In this series, I'm going to be sharing insights and reviews of books that have changed my life as part of burnout recovery. Who am I? I'm a consultant recovering from burnout, and on this channel I share my burnout busting tips and productivity hacks to beat the burnout once and for all. And if that sounds up your street, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're starting this series exactly where I started my recovery journey. Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Yep. Actually, I first read this book back in 2017, and at the time it didn't really click. I didn't really get the message. But when I was in my burnout rut and feeling pretty numb, I gave this another whirl, and this time it changed my life. Without this, I'd still be sweating the small stuff. So, if you're feeling a bit meh, maybe you're stuck in a rut, either personally or professionally, and you want to switch up your perspective, then this book is for you. I'm going to split this video into 3 parts. Overall summary, the 3 key takeaways and how I've used them in my day-to-day life, and then my final thoughts. And I'll put some rough timestamps in the description down below, so feel free to skip around this video to whatever interests you. Now, you'll see this word, and I don't want to offend anyone with the language in this book. So, whenever you see this word, we're going to talk about Smarties. You'll see why. So what is this book actually about? Well, it's branded as a self-help book for people who hate self-help books. And to be honest, I think that's pretty accurate. See, Manson's theory is very simple. What he says is we each have a finite number of Smarties to give each day. And any time we give our attention to something, we distribute a Smartie to it. But the thing is, if we distribute our Smarties too liberally, we're soon left with no Smarties in the Smartie bucket. And that is what burnout is, or at least it was for me. So how do we work out where to distribute our Smarties? Well, that's what this book helps you find out. This book is a bit slang in places, but if you can see past that, then you'll learn how to slow down from the daily roller coaster and find your true values. To peel away the self-awareness onion to better understand what you're feeling and why, and ultimately how to combine those 2 things to stop you feeling afraid. So let's go with the first one, understanding your values. See, Manson isn't saying that we shouldn't care about anything. What he's saying is the path to true happiness lies in understanding what Smarties to give to what things. And no one can put this better than Manson himself, so I'll read you a section. This, in a nutshell, is what self-improvement is really about. Prioritising better values, choosing better things to give a Smartie about. Because when you give better Smarties, you get better problems. And when you get better problems, you get a better life. Think about that for a second. What he's saying is happiness is being confident in where you place your Smarties and the relative side effects of doing that. One thing I really like about this book is the word reorient or reorientate comes up quite a lot. To me, this suggests that he's saying you've already got it in you. It's just a pivot of perspective rather than a radical overhaul of your personality. But how do you actually find those values? What can you do today to get you there? For me, one exercise stood out above all others. Firstly, I wrote down everything I wanted, including all the materialistic things that people tell you shouldn't want. When I'd done that, I looked and I said, well, what happens if all of those are already there? All the promotion, all the cars, all the money. What would actually get you out of bed? And the answer to that is your true values. Now, I might have made that sound pretty simple, but actually when you come to do it, it can be pretty uncomfortable and pretty challenging. And that is why you need Manson's second learning the self-awareness onion. The self-awareness onion. Sounds silly, right? Well, Manson, again, let me give you a quote. Self-awareness is like an onion. There are multiple layers to it, and the more you peel them back, the more likely you are to start crying at inappropriate times. So here you go. This is about having 3 layers. The first is understanding what you're feeling. That might sound simple, but most of us, myself included, fall at that first hurdle. Being able to articulate specifically what it is you're feeling is really hard. So you might take some time just to get used to the first one. The second layer is then why you're feeling that. And the third, by what standards are you measuring this? Let me give you an example. I feel frustrated because I want promotion, because I measure success as being CEO. Okay, that's a pretty arbitrary example, but you get the idea. And I think this is especially important if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling a bit burnt out, because those times when you become a bit either emotionally overwhelmed or emotionally numb are the times when it's hardest to really identify those feelings. What I realised through this kind of peeling away is that for me, I'd been setting myself some pretty arbitrary goals with pretty arbitrary metrics, and that's why I was feeling like I'd been distributing my Smarties too liberally, because I'd been giving them all away in the hope that just one of them would help me find some meaning. It wasn't just the Smartie distribution that was the problem, it was the whole Smartie bucket, the values in which I was wrapping these around. No wonder I was feeling burnt out. When I'd realised this, I went back and repeated the values exercise, and it was so much easier. And to be honest, I'd encourage you to do the same. And that brings us neatly to the final takeaway. You see, when you've really peeled away the self-awareness onion, and you actually understand how you're feeling it and why you're feeling it, and the values against which you're measuring it, when you trust in both those things, you have nothing to worry about. If you trust that what you're giving your Smarties to really aligns to your true values, then you don't need to worry about the choices that you've made. So there you have it. This is a straight-talking, secret self-help book that strips away all the BS and helps you identify how to distribute your Smarties in a way that helps you really start living. Now, if someone tries to make me sweat their small stuff, I'll simply send them a link to this book. If you've read this book already, then please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you think. And the next book we'll be reviewing is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and that will be in 2 weeks' time. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you there, and in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe for some more high quality Burnout consultant content.